What's going on, y'all? It's J Smo Reviews here, man. Back at it again with another video, bringing you guys my thoughts on an announcement, a pretty big announcement that just came out, as well as kind of a topic it correlates to, which we've been hearing about throughout the week. There's been a lot of new era versus old era talk, which no matter the eras, this always happens at some point, usually during the year, if not every other year. It's been the Crucible graduates of Wusa, Capo, Yunus, etc., Hansel, talking trash to Geechee, Tay-Rock, John, and that kind of spurning up, and people talking about potential cards and matchups, and the new guys and what shots they deserve, but that correlates directly into URL's first NOME 15 announcement. There was rumors of it being a return to New York, and it has now been confirmed with them selling tickets. Gramercy Theater, I believe it's June 22nd. URL is not just returning to New York, they're returning to big stage New York, so you have that added pressure of that historically tough, bigger room to move. And the first announcement for NOME 15 is Chess versus Yunus, which I am excited for. It was on my NOME wishlist video, and I had it as the opener. And I know people were a little bit worried that since this is URL's first announcement for NOME 15, that Chess vs. Yunus is supposed to be the ticket seller, the main event, the headliner, and now already there's theories. Yep, NOME's going to be a rookies versus vets. It's going to be the new guys. No, it's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that this happening right after that convo kind of seems like it all goes together, but I do believe this is going to be the opener for the card. It's not going to be a rookies versus vets themed card. And so it is a little bit odd to lead with what I believe is going to be their opener, but I think there's going to be big top tier battles still to come. But I really, really like Yunus versus Chess. There's a classic amount of pressure on this battle, really for both battlers, but especially Yunus. When I talked about it in the NOME wishlist video, people want to see Yunus move a big stage. And even more impressively or more sought after than that, if there's any big stage to move to impress anyone that's a doubter or just anyone that hasn't seen you in that situation, New York big stage, even if it's not Irving Plaza, Gramercy definitely does enough. We're talking over 500 people in there and over 500 New York fans. Hits like over 1,000 fans in almost any other state. We know how active, how hostile, and how harsh that crowd can be. They'll give you love if you deserve the love, but if you are not doing good, New York is extreme about letting you know you're not doing good either. But it's a matchup that I really, really like, and I think it means a lot to Yunus. He's talked about Chess being his endgame battle. This seems to be out of all the matchups that Yunus has built up, and now he's battled writers like a JC, like a Rumnitty, but even down to like what his style is made of and what it looks like has been an inspiration for him, what he's pulled from. There's a lot of similarities between the style of Yunus and Chess, and Yunus has admitted that, and like I said, at one point viewed Chess as like an endgame battle. So for his NOME debut, he's getting someone he has the utmost respect for, someone that clearly influenced his style, and quite the challenge, right? Because I'm not going to do the whole breakdown on Chess's inconsistencies. We know that he could choke or throw up, fuck up any battle versus a legend, versus giving a newer shot. Big situation, small situation. He's a bit of a flight risk, but Chess looked very good versus Swamp on Apollo. Surprise battle, but pretty big room out there in Houston. I had him winning the battle. It's debatable, and Swamp is a very formidable opponent. But the last time Chess got an opportunity on the New York stage, big stage to battle, was T-Rex. We know that battle did not finish, and it ended up going down again in a small room. And while it was still a good battle in that small room, Chess in that first round, that fragment, it looked like battling Rex on that New York stage. He looked like he was going to smoke him. He looked like he was about to have a special performance, and he did not get to complete that. So he didn't really get to fulfill that, I'm back in New York, I'm back on my home on the big stage. And we know, I think, that the big stage is kind of an extra motivator for Chess. Obviously, him versus Easy the Block Captain, when that was building up and it was the return of Chess to the big stage in general, he took that very personal. It ended up being one of the best battles ever, probably the best Summer Madness battle in history. Is that going to be the same thing here? It's a lot to ask a guy to repeat that level of historic performance, but not only is it that big stage, it's in New York, and you didn't get to finish that assignment versus T-Rex. So I think that's enough to expect Chess to be motivated for this battle. I'm not betting on it, and it's hard to predict him. I'm not going to give my full prediction here. I have to think it out. Once the full NOME card is out, I'll give like my definitive final call. But I think things are pointing towards Chess being the winner, or at least having an advantage in this battle. Home game, big stage, and then the flip side of the big stage is Yunus has not participated on one before. And that's what this all comes down to. For the people that have still doubted Yunus, or think he's good, but he's not quite at the stardom conversations that some of his bigger fans or supporters would put him in. It's performing on a big stage, and what better way to prove it than doing it in New York, where I believe in the Gramercy they hold like 500 to 700 people. 500 to 700 engaged New York fans is hitting like 1,000 plus fans in almost any other city or state. They will give you love if you are doing great. It means something to earn their respect, because if you are not doing good, or if you're even just doing okay, they will let you know. This is one of the more vocal crowds that will boo you or be like, that's not enough, or really make you feel that pressure. So for all those reasons, Yunus being that next star that URL is trying to push, all the conversations of can he be or can't he be getting to that next level, now you're getting the battle you've always wanted, someone that can be explosive on that big stage, and you're taking it on the road. This is the pressure that a NOME is about. And I see some people saying this isn't a NOME-worthy battle. Once again, it is the first announcement. It's all about optics and how you roll things out, I believe, in this sport. So if this is, I can understand there's some added pressure or critique for the very first announcement, because, you know, you look across, TBL's got Bulletproof, which is their huge event. They led with Hitman and Mook, right? So the pressure's up for that first battle that gets announced. But if this is the opener of the card, which I believe it is, I believe it's more than worthy of a NOME plate. Many times on NOME or SM, historically, even when URLs went through their prime years of NOME 5, NOME 6, NOME 7, SMs, there's usually the top new guy or someone around there can open up the card, whether it's been your Jack Boys and Mr. Wavies in the past, whether it's been guys who are stars now, like your Geechee Gottis when he battled Shotgun Suge on SM7, whether it be Chess himself, Chess and Av on NOME 6. I think they were kind of both new at the time. Even though Chess had been around for a couple years, he was clearly extremely young. But these are battles that, beginning in the night energy, you give a test to who you think is your best new guy versus a vet, and that's an easy way to open the card before you get to the top tier versus top tier battles. So for me, Yunus versus Chess makes more than enough sense. I'm expecting it to add to NOME perfectly. There's a bit of a storyline. There's things besides a good rapper versus a good rapper. There's people that think that Yunus can only be a small room battler, and even if that's a very simple way of looking at it, seeing if a guy can break the ceiling is enough reason to get invested into a battle. And then on top of that, there's a chance that Chess has an all-time explosive performance. And that is my full initial thoughts on Chess versus Yunus. Obviously, we're going to have more detailed predictions as we get closer to NOME 15 and the full card gets announced, but it's clearly a battle I like. I'm 1-for-1 so far on my NOME wish list, and even though I'm not going to give like a full prediction here, I will say I think Chess is going to be the favorite, and it's just logic and experience points towards that. We've seen Chess do it big stage New York before. We have not seen Yunus really do it big stage, let alone in New York before. But this is Yunus's opportunity. They sometimes in life, in battle rap for this example, when you're asked to be good, you can be baseline good, pass the test and do good enough. But if you can step above that and be great, if they want you to be, this would be respectable. Well, I'm going to go do this and prove it to a higher level. That's what makes stars. We talk about what makes stars. It's exceeding expectations in your biggest moment. So I'm hoping to see the best Yunus, and we have to see the best Yunus for him to graduate to that next level as a battler that so many people kind of put him in that conversation in, and so many people don't think that he can reach. So with that being said, though, this matchup ties a bit into this whole new era versus old era, rookies versus vets combo that's been happening. Happens, it feels like once a year, right? And I say rookies versus vets in quotations because these past two Crucible classes, they're going on 3, if not 4 years battling on URL. You're not rookies. It's not rookies versus vets. It's new guys that want to keep battling top tiers and want bigger opportunities. There's nothing rookie about this. You've been in the league too long now. So I don't love that marketing of it. But I forgot if it started with Geechee's rant on Twitter about the new guys not selling and feeling entitled, or if it was Wusaw's diss track, which I give Wusaw a lot of credit for. I like that he drops diss tracks before his battles. Just another way of promoting that's a little bit more exciting. We're rapping. We're getting the energy up. Easy used that when he was having his come up with the top tier diss track. So I want to give Wusaw some props for that real quick. But there has been this back and forth that led into a space of them talking about the vets being washed up and the matchups they should have between and the opportunities the new guys deserve. Now, I do believe that the new guys touching bigger stages matters. Like Chess versus Yunus, humongous opportunity. He's battled JC, he's battled Rum Nitty, but to have Chess, who I think is an inferior opponent, but have it on the big stage, that's going to be elevated pressure and make it a bit of a bigger situation. But I don't think every new guy is deserving of that, man. I don't think it's just because you haven't touched it before, you haven't made it. Yunus has made it made sense. He's been the number one most talked about for his class, whether it's for better or worse, through the L's and through the high points and the W's. But he's been talked about. So him being maybe the sole new guy in a card, I like that. That's happened throughout history. Not every new guy needs that, man. And just throwing them versus vets hasn't worked. It's not like these guys haven't battled top tiers. I hear them talk about all the time about opportunities. Capo has battled Jazz, Shotgun Shug, and Arsenal. Yunus has battled JC, Rum Nitty, Miss Hustle. He had passed not too long ago on Apollo. Wusa has battled T-Top and Av and Fonz. So just throwing them versus top tiers, whether they compete or not, is not just the answer. And I think this is where I agree with the older guard. You have to make it make sense. People have to care. Them battling top tiers not automatically make people care. It's battling them when the storyline's been built up. When we believe in you as a character and we want to see you sink or swim. If you've battled 4 top tiers, but no one really knew your profile going in, these are just matchups that you can't use once people actually give a fuck about the trajectory and progression of your career. So I kind of hate, they're like, oh, they're running this and that, like Hansel calling out John. I know that some people that are like really in the inner circle and maybe like fans or friends with Hansel think that that's been built up to be some serious grudge match. A lot of people not only don't have any like stock in Hansel versus John, a lot of people still don't even know who Hansel is. I think Hansel's really good. He's having a great start to 2025, but just pestering a vet and then your inner circle likes it and you think it's a grudge match is not the case at all. You have to be a character where it's built up. Like Yunus versus Chess is the perfect example. And that's why when there's like 7 or 8 of them all being like, you're all running, not everyone's going to make it. Definitely not all at once. You're usually on these gnomes and SMs, 1 new guy, maybe 2, if they really, really, really go on a run and make it make sense, will end up on the card. But there has to be more buildup. Like, it's on the onus of the battler to make people care. You can't turn around and blame the fans because they talk about the narratives of, oh, then the vets don't try versus us. Well, you're like 3-4 battles in your URL career, and you're getting a name that is a legend on the league in a small room out of nowhere. More buildup. I say it all the time. It's not just about if you can compete. A lot of these guys are talented and proven they can compete with the vets. We've seen Yunus compete with every top tier he's battled for the most part. I just saw Wusa crush it versus Av. I had Av, but it's a debatable battle. He's not having many of those over the last 3 or 4 years or so. Hansel's done some great things versus older battlers. So it's not that you can't compete. It's timing, the marketing, the optics. We have to care about you before we can care about the matchup. And I think the new guys miss that. And that's why I kind of agree with the entitlement part and kind of that misperception that, oh, we just haven't gotten enough opportunities. You could get 12 more opportunities, but if the buildup isn't right, people still aren't going to give a fuck. I hope that this is a little bit of a change here, though, because I see some of them gaining great momentum. I love what Wusa is doing right now. I think his style, the way he promos a little bit too, like there's a lot of things great going on over there. I love what Yunus is doing. I think Hansel and Capo are working in that direction. But I don't know how I feel about like a full, like, oh, let's do it all again. When they battle the vets this time, everyone's just going to love it. It's not rookies versus vets. They've been around long enough, and everyone's path to success is individualized. So I don't know how much I love the concept of it, but we have this convo every once in a while with, no matter what era it is, when it was the UM1 class versus the older era, when it was back in the day, bars over names, like in around 2013. So this is the history just repeating itself. And I feel like we have the same conversations no matter the era. But now more than ever, rushing to just get top tier names has proven over and over and over again that's not just going to make a guy a star. And you have to have more storylines that build up like Yunus versus Chess than you do with like Capo versus Shotgun Shug or any of these one-off, just battle a top tier for the sake of it on your resume in a small room. But new guys are doing the right thing, popping their shit. They just have to make it make sense. We can't just throw the matchups together for the sake of it. But with the vets feeding into it a little bit more, with the Geechees and the Twerks and the Rocks being more vocal, this is good because it's setting up the lane to build some of those grudges so that it feels fulfilling and that it means something once we get there. But I don't want people just thinking like, just because we throw top tiers versus rookies. Like, they've already gotten plenty of opportunities and it hasn't worked. It's not just about the name that they're battling, it's about the timing and if it feels earned to the fans organically. But that is my full thoughts on the new age versus the old age, as well as chess versus Yunus for NOME 15. And of course, I want to hear your guys' opinions on chess versus Yunus. How are you feeling about it? How are you calling it? How do you feel about the return to New York? And what pressure do you think that adds to the card? What other battles are you expecting to be on NOME? And then, of course, how are you feeling with the possibility of maybe, a new era versus old era card on the way? Do you think it's good for them to all get these opportunities versus Geechee, Twerk, and Rock? Or are you kind of on my side with it where slower buildups, maybe one or two new guys making it at a time, but, really making the matchups matter a little bit more? And who do you think would win? Do you think the old era would smoke them, especially if they're taking it serious? Or do you think it's the new guys' time to come and take the torch and maybe beat a couple of these guys and make it to that next level? But hopefully there's going to be more announcements. I know TBL said their next announcement for Bulletproof is coming out later today. So depending on how big of an announcement that is, you might even see me again tomorrow morning or later today talking about what TBL's got going on. But between Bulletproof from TBL and NOME from URL, we should have another good couple weeks after what was mostly a quiet May of big time announcements, battles to look forward to, and storylines building, because that's really what makes battle rap go around, man. But it's been J Smo Reviews again here, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm gonna catch you on the next one, man. Peace.